Chandamama Ramayan, 45th part. Vibhishan further spoke thus to Rama about Kumbhakarna. As soon as Kumbhakarna was born, he felt hungry and began to eat humans in the thousands. People were terrified and sought refuge in Indra. Indra became angry and used the Vajrayudha against Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna plucked the tusk of Airavata and struck Indra in the chest. Indra, accompanied by the people, went to Brahma and told him that Kumbhakarna was eating the people, insulting the gods, destroying hermitages, and abducting other women. Brahma summoned all the demons and saw Kumbhakarna among them. He said to Kumbhakarna, "Did Vishrava beget you for the destruction of the people like this? From now on, you shall remain in deep slumber, bereft of self-awareness," he said. Kumbhakarna fell into a deep sleep right in front of Brahma. Seeing that, Ravana said, "Grandfather, it is unjust to curse your great-grandson like this. Fix a time limit for his sleep and wakefulness." Brahma said, "He will sleep for 6 months and remain awake for 1 day." Vibhishan told these matters to Rama and said, "Rama, terrified by your blow, Ravana woke up the sleeping Kumbhakarna. Seeing him, how can the frightened Vanaras stand and fight in the war? Therefore, we must tell the Vanaras that this is a walking machine." Rama told Nila to prepare the Vanara army for war. Gavaksha, Sharabha, Hanuman, and Angada each held a mountain peak and stood at the gates of Lanka. In the meantime, Kumbhakarna went to the house of Ravana and saw his brother sitting sadly in the Pushpaka. Upon seeing Kumbhakarna, Ravana rose with joy and embraced him. Kumbhakarna bowed to the feet of his elder brother and asked, "What is the reason for waking me up? What fear has come? To whom has death approached? Since you have been immersed in comfortable sleep for a long time, you do not know about the fear Rama has brought upon me. Rama has come across the sea along with the army of Sugriv and is testing our limits. Look at the gardens and groves in Lanka, all are filled with Vanaras. The Vanaras are killing all our chief demons. No Vanara leader has died at our hands. You are a person of great strength, and we woke you up so that you may protect us from this danger," Ravana said to Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna laughed. "When we discussed this matter previously, what those who wished for your welfare said would happen has indeed occurred. Without thinking of the consequences, you brought Sita by abducting her with the pride of your strength. Do as our brother Vibhishan said," he said. Hearing these words, Ravana became angry and said, "You are young, and I am the elder and one worthy of respect. Your advice is a mere waste of breath. Why discuss what has already happened now? Think about the present duty. Correct the mistake I made with your valour." Realizing that Ravana had become angry, Kumbhakarna spoke softly and reassuringly thus, "Do not grieve, do not be angry. Since I am your brother and well-wisher, I spoke the words that needed to be said. I will fulfill your desire by killing Rama and Lakshman in the battle. I will bring the head of Rama and place it before you to make you happy. Why do you fear Rama while I am alive? Send me to the war. I have no need of weapons. With my bare hands alone, I can slay even the mightiest of warriors." Hearing these words of Kumbhakarna, Mahodra became incensed. "You are a coarse person, of little intellect and arrogant. Why would Ravana do something that should not be done? You said that a bad result has occurred because a bad deed was done, but what is the proof for saying so? Does not grief arise from good deeds and happiness from bad deeds? A desire arose in Ravana to abduct Sita, and we also supported that desire. Let that be. You are saying that you will go to the war alone, but can you alone kill Rama who killed so many demon warriors in Janasthana?" Mahodra said. Mahodra suggested that the 5 of them, himself, Dvijehva, Sanhardi, Kumbhakarna and Vitardana should go and kill Rama. If Rama died, well and good. If he did not die, these 5 would return from the battle with wounds and streams of blood and tell Ravana, "We have eaten Rama and Lakshman." Then Ravana could console Sita, give her wealth, gold, and vehicles, and bring her mind under his control. Sita would come under his influence without Ravana needing to go to war and face Rama. This was the plan told by Mahodra. Hearing everything, Kumbhakarna warned Mahodra, saying, "Never speak such words. Take care of yourself." He said that Ravana had reached this state by listening to the advice of people like him. He said that people like Mahodra, who were afraid at the very mention of war, had become mere shadows, assenting to whatever Ravana uttered, rather than true guides. Ravana laughed loudly at the words of Kumbhakarna and said, "Mahodra is afraid of Rama, and therefore he is saying not to go to war. You go, fight, and return victorious. Consume Rama, Lakshman, and the Vanaras." Kumbhakarna took an extraordinary spear. It was made using a great deal of iron, adorned with gold, wrapped with garlands of red flowers, and was not inferior to the Vajrayudha of Indra. Kumbhakarna said that he would go to war alone, and that there was no need for an army to assist him. Ravana told him to take the army and weapons, saying that the danger would be greater if he went alone. He placed a gold necklace studded with gems around the neck of his brother. He put ornaments such as armlets and rings on him. He placed flower garlands with good fragrance on him. He put earrings on his ears. He clad him in a very heavy gold armor. Kumbhakarna embraced his brother, performed a circumambulation, offered a prostration, and started for the war. Behind him, demon warriors of great strength started out with a large army carrying weapons. While starting for the war, because Kumbhakarna increased his body immensely, he stepped over the walls and went to reach the Vanara army. Seeing him, the Vanaras scattered in all directions like pieces of clouds being blown away by a great wind. Among the Vanara warriors fleeing at the sight of Kumbhakarna were Vanara chiefs like Nala, Nila, Gavaksha and Kumuda. Seeing them, Angada said, "Forgetting even your self-respect and valor, where are you fleeing? That which is coming is not a demon who fights, but a terrifying doll. Come back, let us destroy this scarecrow." Gaining courage from those words, the Vanaras turned back and clashed with Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna did not waver at all at the mountain rocks and trees they threw. Moreover, becoming angry, he began to eliminate the Vanaras. With that blow, the Vanaras took to their heels. They fled by jumping over one another. Some flew into the sky, some went and fell into the sea, and others fled over the bridge. Some bears hid in the trees and others in the mountains. Some slumped down, some fainted, and some lay without moving as if dead. "Stop! Stop! Come back!" Angada shouted and called the Vanaras. He told the Vanaras that those who were warriors should either kill the enemy and earn fame or die at the hands of the enemy and go to the world of Brahma, but should not flee like cowards to save their lives, and that death had certainly approached Kumbhakarna at the hands of Rama. But they said, "Kumbhakarna is killing us cruelly. We are going. It is enough if our lives are spared," and they fled seeing Kumbhakarna coming. However, Angada and Hanuman together managed to turn back the fleeing Vanaras with kind words. Then Hanuman started for the war accompanied by 12 Vanara warriors. They were Rishabha, Sharabha, Manda, Dhumra, Nila, Kumuda, Sushena, Gavaksha, Rambha, Tara, Vividha, and Pavnasu. In the war fought by all of them together, many demons died, chariots were crushed, and elephants, horses, and camels died. Hanuman flew into the air and showered mountain rocks and threw trees upon Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna pushed all of them aside with his spear. While Kumbhakarna was chasing the Vanaras, Hanuman held a mountain peak and stood across his path. When Hanuman struck with it, the head of Kumbhakarna broke and was wet with blood. Immediately, when Kumbhakarna stabbed him in the chest with his spear, Hanuman fainted while vomiting blood. As soon as Hanuman fell, Nila stopped the Vanaras, who were fleeing again, and threw a large mountain rock upon Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna crushed it into powder with his fist. 5 Vanara warriors fell upon Kumbhakarna and struck him with rocks and trees and kicked him with their legs and hands. Kumbhakarna did not waver at these blows. He slew those 5 Vanara warriors. Seeing that, many thousands of Vanaras came and fell upon Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna began to catch them and eat them. Outcries arose among the Vanaras. They went and sought refuge in Rama. Angada struck Kumbhakarna on the head with a large mountain rock. When Kumbhakarna became incensed and threw his spear, Angada cleverly avoided it, approached Kumbhakarna quickly, and struck him in the chest so that it shook. Kumbhakarna fainted at that blow. Regaining consciousness immediately, Kumbhakarna struck Angada with his left fist, making him faint, and went towards Sugriv. Kumbhakarna whirled his spear and threw it at Sugriv. Meanwhile, Hanuman came and caught it midway and broke it with both hands. That spear, made with 4,000 pounds of iron, broke like a stick as soon as Hanuman broke it against his knee. When the spear was gone, Kumbhakarna threw a rock and made Sugriv faint. Kumbhakarna caught the fainting Sugriv and carried him away. His intention was that if Sugriv was captured, the Vanara army, Rama and Lakshman would become powerless. He took Sugriv and went away to Lanka. Hanuman thought for a moment whether to oppose Kumbhakarna and rescue Sugriv, but finally decided that doing so was unnecessary, because the moment he regained consciousness, he could rescue himself. Thinking thus, Hanuman remained there giving courage to the terrified Vanaras. As the citizens of Lanka sprinkled fragrant waters upon Kumbhakarn, Sugriv regained consciousness. He thought about what kind of reaction would be good now. Finally, he pinched the ears of Kumbhakarn with his nails and bit his nose and cheeks. Kumbhakarn became angry, struck Sugriv against the ground and trampled him. Yet Sugriv paid it no heed and rose into the air with the speed of wind and landed where Rama was. Chandamama Ramayan, 45th part is complete. For now, Swasti.